What's up, everyone? Got another podcast coming up. Everyone really liked the last podcast I did with my friends Trav and Kaiser and the Voices. We did Doom, and from last time I checked, it's already nearing 1,000 views. So thanks for that. But another day, another podcast, and I got another very special friend with me today. At least I consider him my friend. I hope he also considers that with me as well.
I don't know. We talked like 2 times before, but yeah, sure, we're acquainted. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Everyone, we got Nitro Rad here for the channel.
What's up? It's me. What he said, Nitro Rad. I'm really good at this, as you can tell.
So, how you doing? How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing all right. A little tired with the whole quarantine malarkey going on. It's, I'm pretty much going to bed at like 5 a.m. every day because my sleep's just destroyed, and I'm just a zombie man right now, literally just powered on 2 cups of coffee. So apologies if I'm sound like I'm dying this whole time, but we're gonna try and make this work.
You know, Simon Pegg's friend in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
It's kind of like him in a way at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah. God, it's been ages since I watched that movie. That's a good-ass movie.
It was on Netflix for a good while, but they took it off.
Damn, I've never used Netflix, actually.
Oh, my boy. Ooh, I'll talk to you about that later.
All right. Well, I mean, I've got friends on Netflix, and if I'm over at a house, then I'll watch that. But I'm old school when it comes to watching movies. I seek out any movie I want. I don't browse from a selection on a streaming service. I usually I never watched this movie before. Let's track it down and watch it.
Oh no, I get you. I definitely get you on that. But
it's just the film nerd in me talking. That's what I'm used to.
But we're here today to talk about another horror game franchise that I don't want to say is actually close to my heart, but it's a franchise that I do like. It's Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
Spooky ghosts and cameras and such.
It is definitely one of the most unique horror games of its time when it came out.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
There's some stuff that we'll talk about down the road, I'm sure, that kind of recaptured it, but I still don't think that kind of game has really been made again.
Yeah, in that sort of sense, I definitely do agree with that. But I feel like we could get to that when we get to it.
Yeah.
So how have we heard about Fatal Frame? What caused us to know of the existence of Fatal Frame?
Oh man, are you gonna answer first or should I go first?
You could go first if you want.
Okay, well, I mean, I've just always kind of I got into horror and by extension horror games when I was in early high school, late middle school, because I was a Nintendo fanboy my whole life, but when I got a PlayStation. I got a PS3. It was my first PlayStation that I myself owned and wasn't a friend's or my sister's or whatever. And Silent Hill 1 I downloaded on the PlayStation Store just because I wanted to try and get into horror games, and that was my first exposure to horror was Silent Hill. I played all those games. And then when you're just kind of, looking up other horror games, you're kind of in that world. Fatal Frame's a name you see pop up a lot. And my buddy had a swap magic so we could play burnt PS2 games. So that was kind of our way of going down all the list of all the PS2 horror games that everyone kind of speaks highly of. So we tried Echo Night Beyond, we tried Kuon, we tried Rule of Rose, and then we tried Fatal Frame, and we got nowhere in any of them because we got a whole thing full of PS2 discs that we just burned. We just wanted to see what each one was a little bit before we committed to one. And we ended up committing to Silent Hill 4 because that was the one out of the batch we didn't play, but we never really went back to it. And that's kind of what made me want to start doing horror reviews, because it gave me an excuse to finally see all of those games we tried that one time in its entirety, plus a lot of other ones. So it was just one of those ones that I see around a lot. Everyone talks about it. Everyone kind of it's hailed as one of the better PS2 games that are horror, up with Silent Hill. And, of course, I just had to dabble in that at some point, so I decided one year I'm going to do all the Fatal Frame games on my channel. Gave me an excuse to play the entire series front to back, and yeah, that's how I found about it. About it. Yeah.
all from being a pirate and playing PS2 games on your PS3.
Well, see, that's why there's the silver lining to piracy. When I don't think it's an inherently bad thing with old games that are not accessible anymore, because Fatal Frame isn't really on. It's on the PS3. You can download, but who still uses a PS3, right? So that was kind of our way to find out about these games, get into them a little bit, and then later down the road we can buy those games legally in a way,
Yeah.
and then we enjoy them that way. So like, same with like emulation. I think emulation is just a great way to be exposed to stuff you obviously never would. So I think that is kind of like an important thing.
I definitely agree with that, because video game preservation is so friggin' important.
It's terrible. They're so bad with it.
And like, especially nowadays with Fatal Frame, I almost said Silent Hill. That's a later podcast.
Yeah.
Fatal Frame right now is just so expensive. Like,
it is, because that's the thing with all of these horror games, and that's why we pirated them, because a lot of them, because horror wasn't huge in the PS2 days like it is now. So like, even the Silent Hill games, the best of the best, only sold a couple 100,000 copies. Fatal Frame didn't even sell super duper well. A copy of Fatal Frame like 2 or 3, it cost me like $80 to buy them all.
Christ.
Like, thank God for the Patreon funding my show, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to afford these normally. Like, I don't want to pay this much for a PS2 game. Put it on PS4 and Switch for $10 a pop is what they need to do, but they don't. So that's like kind of your only way to be exposed to it in this like kind of cruddy era.
It's like, thanks to your Patreon, you can finally get JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on your Dreamcast. You know?
Oh, I don't know anything about that series. I just
believe
know
me, I don't know
people
either.
apply pictures of it on Twitter a lot. I see it around. I still don't know what I'm looking at.
But for me, I heard about Fatal Frame, I believe, on G4 when that was still around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was
You're
around.
the same age as me, right?
How old are you?
I'm 25.
I turned 25 this year.
Okay, so it would have been on TV around the same time.
Yeah. Like,
I see.
I believe it was either Cinematech that showed a trailer for Fatal Frame 2, or it was X-Play doing their top 10 horror games of all time, and I believe Fatal Frame 2 was on that list.
Oh, I do think the second one is like one of the best PS2 horror games, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I heavily agree with that, because like,
Yeah.
I didn't get into horror until around 2012. No, not 2012, 2007. That was because of the Rob Zombie Halloween remake.
That was a big gap in those 2 years you just said.
Yeah, it's like, I got into horror a little later, but then I started learning about horror games, and then Fatal Frame came up, and then it's like, oh, I do not know what Fatal Frame is. And I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't have money. I couldn't get it.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things you always hear about. You have an idea of what that game is. Like, yeah, you take pictures of ghosts, right? But that's all I knew about it.
Yeah. But like, I also just want to say, like, I think it's also because of my dad that when the PS2 first came out, he was actually playing some horror games. Fatal Frame was not one of them. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I see.
But because of that, I was able to like learn some other horror games that he didn't play that I didn't even know. Fatal Frame, of course, being one of them. So I say that's definitely like a good stepping stone in a way.
Another thing I find with like people that were big into horror games in the early 2000s, they say that, but it was always Resident Evil. Like every like friend's dad I knew that's like, oh, don't come in here, kids, we're playing the horror game. He's just playing Resident Evil, which like I don't think Resident Evil ever really got particularly scary, because it had just more focus on like using the horror as a setting and then being more about survival and action, unlike Silent Hill, which really dived into like psychological horror. So it's like, it's interesting when you learn about like the more horror focused experiences like later, which were the lesser popular ones. And then you can like realize, damn, there is a whole era where they did like a lot of cool stuff with this genre that like going back to that is just super freaking cool.
Which also funny enough, one of the games that my dad was playing was Silent Hill 2.
Oh, right on.
He didn't really get into it because it was a little slow for him, which is fair.
Yeah,
that's very fair. But he was also playing The Suffering and Manhunt. And
those are two I hear. Those are also two names I've heard floating around, but I've never seen them. I don't even know what those games are like. Oh no, I have played Manhunt. The Suffering Manhunt. You know, it's like Pizza Hut, except you're eating people. I guess that's kind of what that game is in a way. Anyway, yeah, I've played Manhunt briefly, but I don't even know what The Suffering is. I've just heard that.
The Suffering is literally a psychological horror game that takes place on a prison island.
Oh, that actually sounds a little bit like Manhunt.
Creature designs in The Suffering are amazing, I'll tell you that.
I really need to play that song. That is one I get like requests a lot for. It's another way I like find out about a lot of old horror games just by reading YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will suggest, because again, that's one I see a lot, and that is something I do want to look into sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say you would have a good time with that.
Hell yeah.
So, okay, so what's the first Fatal Frame game that we both played?
Well, considering that I played them all in order for the first time for review, the first one. Oh, actually, also because we played one of them when I was younger in high school, and we were just trying them all out. But that was also just the first one.
Yeah, I definitely get you on that one. For me, I was a late bloomer, and I got 3.
Oh, really? That is such an interesting one to start with, because that's like probably the hardest one to get into, I'd say.
I could agree, definitely. But, like, I also say that because it was the first Fatal Frame game I purchased myself.
Oh.
This was before the prices skyrocketed for it, too.
Yeah, back when they were still kind of niche things no one really cared about. But the moment people care about them and there's still not that many copies of it, that's when things get pricey.
Yep. I hate it. Sometimes I love the used game market. Other times I fucking hate it.
Oh, it was great a couple of years ago, but now, like, I feel like all of the copies from the people that just didn't want it anymore have been scooped up, and now it's just scalpers and people in the know, and it's so hard to find any used game around here for a decent price.
I missed out on Clock Tower on the PS1 for $60.
Oh, jeez. I ended up paying, like, I think $200 for that.
Oh, God, my heart.
Canadian. But again, it was that Patreon money, like, funding the show. Like, that's... Oh, I've never spent that much money on a video game for a YouTube video other than Clock Tower. No, it was Clock Tower Ghost Head. Well, it was Clock Tower 2 here, but that one that was a pricey one. That was $200 Canadian, mind you, so it would cheaper, probably $150 US. But
that's still a lot.
I was sitting on that button, that buy now button, for like a year and a half before I even decided to review that series, like for that Halloween. That's why I did Clock Tower so late, because it was just like a matter of, do I want to spend this much? But I made such a return on those videos. They did really well, so it was absolutely worth it. And that was such a cool series to explore too. God, what an interesting series. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Fatal Frame.
Yes. All right, so what's our favorite Fatal Frame game, if you want to go into that?
Well, I've gone first for each one. How about you go first for this one? I can tell you you're wrong. No.
Let's see. Okay, so 2 is definitely there, of course.
Yeah.
But I do have a soft spot for Spirit Camera.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It was okay. So I got a 3DS. I wanted a new game. I heard about Spirit Camera without knowing it's a Fatal Frame game, by the way. So I went into it blind, and then like as soon as characters started coming up with Spirit Camera, it's like, is this Fatal Frame?
Yeah, because it has that like pseudo semi-anime kind of look to the
yeah. And then I was also looking at like the developer of it is like, oh, this is Fatal Frame.
Doesn't it say? I think the story mode is called Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
In it too. So the words Fatal Frame are in the game once you're playing at some point too.
Yeah, and it's still weird that Nintendo has it, like in terms of publishing rights.
Yeah, that's so bizarre. Nintendo owning Fatal Frame.
Like,
that's so weird.
It's like they own 2 horror titles. They have Eternal Darkness, which they're not doing anything with because Silicon Knights.
Yeah, they're never gonna do anything with that.
And Fatal Frame. As like, I wouldn't expect Nintendo to own more than 1 horror title.
Yeah, but I think they were interested in the property because they were still pursuing like really gimmicky hardware at that point, and they thought the idea of taking pictures of Ghost was a really good fit for that kind of hardware, is why they bought it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, especially because they had the AR technology on the 3DS as well. It's like they want to take full advantage of that, and I think Fatal Frame was actually a really good way to use it.
Yeah, too bad it sucks at it.
Like, I see the flaws. Believe me, I see the flaws in Spirit Camera, but even then, I still had fun with it.
Yeah. It's a goofy, like, little toy box for sure.
Yeah,
it's like a cool... Like, I think in my video of it, I think I said if you can get it for cheap, it's, like, cool to play with at least one time.
Yeah, like, I got it for, like, I think $17, I think.
I bought it
brand
for, like...
new.
I got it for, like, $8. It's so cheap. See, that's the one Fatal Frame game that's not expensive, is Spirit Camera.
Like, I got it brand new, so I was very happy with that. But I was playing it and I was like, you know what? I like this. But Fatal Frame 2 came up and it's like, God damn, this is good.
That is a genuinely incredible video game, Fatal Frame
Yeah.
2. It's
Like-
interesting because I think it's the least scary one, but like story-wise and map design-wise and like everything else is just leaps and bounds better than I think any of the other PS2 ones.
Yeah, it's definitely like the most engrossing, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like Fatal Frame 2 story, the characters, just I love the setting, I love the atmosphere it gives off. I love it entirely.
Yeah.
I bought it
And
twice.
I feel like, oh gee. Well, I mean, technically I bought it twice because I also bought the Wii version.
I got the Xbox version.
Oh, dude. Wait, do I have the Xbox version? No, I don't think I do. I remember I talk about an ending that's exclusive to the Xbox version.
Yeah.
I did, but I don't think I actually had it. I don't remember.
I would say definitely if you're trying to like be like, if you're trying to like have like, if you want to have every version of the game, get the Xbox version as well while you still can.
Oh yeah, it's that's probably going to go up in price. Like those numbers are only going to get higher
Yeah, unfortunately.
unless they put them out on like Switch and then no one's buying them anymore and then they go back down. See, accessibility also lowers the price of those items.
Yeah,
which is another
definitely.
reason because then the hardcore collectors that are big into the series can get it at a more comfortable price too.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's people that don't even know what Fatal Frame is.
Yeah.
And it's like give them the sources of modern tech to just let them discover it. Let them know what Fatal Frame is, why it's so
Exactly.
niche.
Exactly. Put like a trilogy on Switch and PS4.
Oh
Or
my
no,
God.
because it's Nintendo. They could put the trilogy on Switch and also add gyro aim assist.
Oh, that would be so good. That would be
Ooh.
that is perfect.
Dude, like every Switch game that adds gyro aim like as an option, like playing Turok 2, that game like the controls were like pretty bad on N64 obviously, but like playing that with 2 sticks feels great, but then playing it with that also little extra gyro aim for a flick of the wrist to pop off a shotgun headshot, it feels so good. If they did the same thing to Fatal Frame, it would be awesome.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I would actually really like that.
Mm.
But what about you? What's your favorite title?
Oh, 2 by a mile.
Yeah.
I do have a soft spot for 4. I think 4 is probably like one of the most interesting ones. I think like setting wise, it was kind of a nice break from the same like traditional Japanese kind of looking housing.
Yeah.
And then they kind of had like a little bit of Western influence. You also had like a mental ward in there, and there's like a hospital, and there's like a lot of imagery of like tools and stuff that doctors would use that kind of, you know, also went into the story, but were also just kind of creepy to be around. And I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think 4 has my favorite map and like area to explore, and I think 4 also has my favorite cast of characters. But as an overall package, 2 is by far, I think, like the best one.
Yeah, definitely. Like I can't really say anything about 4 because I haven't played it.
Oh yeah, you can get that English patch fairly easily if you have a modded Wii.
I need a modded Wii then.
Yeah, I mean, just I probably shouldn't get into this because I don't want Mario to arrest me. But you know, it's not. Modding your Wii is not too difficult.
You hear it pounding. Open up. It's Canadian. It's Canadian Mario.
In my defense, I've never used my modded Wii for piracy. I've only used it to play modded versions of or like ROM hacks, like Majora's Mask Randomizer, and then I've used it for English patches. That's all I've used it for. I'm definitely not breaking the law. Please don't arrest me, Mario.
All right, so I know you kind of touched on this a little bit before we started, but least favorite game in the franchise.
Yeah, I think 5 is objectively probably the worst one, but at least 5 tried some interesting things that I liked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I found I was the least engaged and I had the least amount of fun with 3. Because 3 just kind of felt like a retreading of what 1 already did, except like bigger and more expansive with more characters. And I think 3 is like the scariest one. I think the scares are brilliant. But I found the story not nearly as interesting. It had a great ending. I loved the ending to it, but I don't know, like some of the characters I just wasn't really feeling. Some of the story beats were just kind of, I don't know, and it dragged out, and the area was just so big and confusing, and you're just retreading the same area over and over. Unlike 2, which, you know, you go through a lot of different areas, and when you do backtrack, it's kept to a minimum, right? But
Yeah.
3 is just like pretty much just so much backtracking, and I don't know. I found it really tedious, and I found it just didn't really hold my attention that well, and I got a little frustrated with it. And the other thing, I think 3 is like the hardest one, at least in my experience, my opinion, because like. God, like that room where you go up the stairs and there's a ghost woman with a kimono and she's always going through the walls and you can't take her friggin' and I like the idea of ghosts deliberately going into the walls. That was a cool thing they added in 3 to try and like dodge whatever. But for the fast enemies in a tiny room where they're never it was impossible. I hated. There's a lot of fights like that drove me nuts, and it's I don't know. I found it the most frustrating, and a lot of people got really mad I didn't like 3, and like again, there's a lot of things about 3 I think are brilliant, but overall it just didn't really hold me as nearly as well as the other games.
Yeah, I could agree with that, definitely, with Fatal Frame 3 being like scary. It's scary, yes, especially like I think my favorite one is when you're walking in your apartment and you see in the mirror you see someone else walking.
Oh, that scared the crap out of me. That was brilliant.
That's such an amazing scare, and it was perfect. No loud sounds, just silent.
And they do that. Yeah, they do exactly, because you don't need. I feel like a loud sound is like kind of the horror equivalent of a laugh track.
Yeah,
it's kind of just the sound there to tell you to be scared. But if you can manage to spook the player without that, I think that goes to show how effective your scare really is.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. But with 3 being the least favorite, I'm also with.
Really?
I don't like how you had to keep going through backtracking every time, let alone with more than one character.
Yeah, exactly. And like I get that they tried to do some cool things, like it was kind of like the Donkey Kong 64 syndrome where you got to redo the map as a different character with a different ability to do, and it was just kind of tedious.
Yeah, I don't like games like that. That's why I really avoided Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah, and I can understand that.
Man, Fatal Frame 3 is it's I don't want to say divisive. But
well, I will say it's divisive because the comment section on my Fatal Frame 3 video was very divisive. People either love or they really don't like that game. Yeah, it is quite a divisive game.
Okay. Well, at least your comment section kind of proved it, so thanks.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was interesting. Even if some people were a little irritated with me for not, seeing what they saw in the game, it was still cool to see how everyone felt about it, and it definitely felt like the most polarizing entry for sure.
Definitely.
Because, like, at least 5, most people can generally agree was somewhat disappointing. It wasn't that great. Most people can agree with that, but that's not the case with 3.
Let's go a little deeper into the series and talk about our favorite protagonists.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with 2.
Oh yeah, Miyu and Mayu.
Miyu and Mayu, yeah.
Mio, is it Mio or Mi? Oh, it's been a while. I forget.
Hold on. I need to make sure myself now. Fatal Frame.
Because I played all those games in the same month, the same 2-month span. So like remembering all these different Japanese names that kind of cluster together in my brain.
Yeah, it's Mio and Mayu.
Okay.
Yeah, those two, because like the main thing about it is that you believe that they're connected. Like you get the chemistry. You see that they're actually sisters. You want them to prevail. You want everything to be okay for them.
And I think that like opening intro cutscene where it's just them kind of chilling by the water, they only have like a handful of lines between the two, but they get across what their relationship is like very firmly, just those handful of like sentences.
Yeah, like it's just perfect for them. It works.
Yeah.
And then it makes everything that they go through in the entire game actually worth it in the end.
Yeah, because you really want to save your sister, because like that flashback where she falls down the hill, she's the one who's always getting left behind. She's the one who's like, and it's like, well, now I feel like a little bit attached. I want to solve this. I want to fix this, but like that's what makes the game so bittersweet. I almost spoiled the game. Bleep that out. Probably shouldn't spoil the ending of the game. Probably shouldn't do that.
You reviewed the games. It's fine.
I just don't want anyone to be listening to this and be like, because I always put a spoiler warning. I used to not do that in my old videos. I used to just spoil the game when I talk about the story, and everyone hates that. So I was like, okay, I'm trying to be way more respectful of spoilers these days.
Yeah,
even if it's old games,
That's fair. That's very fair. I guess I'll put a spoiler warning in like the title or something.
Okay, there you go. Okay, well, since there's a spoiler warning in the title now, yeah, it makes it very bittersweet having that attachment to that character and realizing that you don't actually save them in the end.
Yeah, it's like finding out that Bruce Willis was actually dead in The Sixth Sense.
I didn't know that. I don't know. I never watched that movie.
It's Shyamalan, but it's a good Shyamalan movie at least.
Yeah, I hear that's like the one from him everyone likes.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much. What about you?
Oh, I really like Mio and Mayu for reasons I just explained. I also really like Four's cast. What's her name? I forget all of their names, but she's kind of got like a little more grumpy look to her. I really like her character design, and she's also, I think, the granddaughter of the guy that made the Camera Obscura.
Is it Misaki?
Misaki, I think that's it. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
You cut out for like 1 second, so I don't know if that's what you said, but it jogged my memory. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at it. It says Misaki.
Yeah, I really like that character, mostly just because you can give her a Luigi costume.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
Dude,
you have a thing with horror games and wacky costumes.
It is like, I love horror games with wacky costumes. It's like the ultimate reward. It's like, you get through the scary game, okay, now the scary game is goofy as the reward. You know, I love that idea so much. Like, I know Silent Hill 3 had goofy costumes. Like, Rule of Rose has an octopus costume.
Yep.
Silent Hill Origins, I if I ever re-review the game, I need to beat the game multiple times to unlock all these. But you can get like a dog mascot costume, like the dog from the dog ending of Silent Hill 2. You can just walk around in a big like fursuit, like in Silent Hill, and the idea of that is just so absurd and stupid. I love it. I love that stuff.
That's honestly adorable. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and like Nintendo is, Mario is like my favorite series freaking ever because platformers are my favorite thing, and I grew up with Mario my whole life. And like just having a Mario costume in like a genuinely fantastic horror game, like when you could unlock in the Silent Hill 2, or not Fatal Frame 2, even if the Wii version isn't the best version of that game, it was absolutely worth going the effort of like, you have to beat the final boss in like a minute. And it took me like 6 hours to unlock it, but it was worth it just to see like the main characters in that game walking around in Mario and Luigi costumes.
Yeah. It's just great seeing those kind of things. And then like you kind of wish that more horror games would do that nowadays.
Yeah, like Fatal Frame 5 I think was the last one to kind of do that I can remember, at least on like with Nintendo costumes. But they had like the Zelda and the Zero Suit Samus costume, and I thought those are kind of cool, but I really wish they had like goofy ones. Like if you could get like a Tom Nook mascot costume, or like a Olimar, like a Captain Olimar outfit, like a bulky spacesuit, just something that makes the character look stupid as hell. That's what I want.
That would actually be really cool. I'm just imagining a giant Tom Nook costume.
Yeah. You know what would be great is if they did this back in the day, if they did Eternal Darkness, if you could unlock a Samus Aran suit, because it's the same voice actor.
Yeah, it it kind of also looks like Samus in a way too.
Yeah, she's got the blonde hair and the ponytail.
It's all there.
What's her name? Jennifer
Hale.
Jennifer Hale. Yeah, she's also in Metal Gear.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah.
She was
Naomi.
Yeah, Naomi.
Yeah, and I think she was also Otacon's little sister in 2 as well.
What was her name? Sunny? Was it? No, it wasn't Sunny.
Emma. Yeah, Sunny's 4. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually been a while since I like looked into Metal Gear Solid 2.
It's been a while since I really cared about Metal Gear. I feel like my interest, Metal Gear is like my favorite series for the longest time, but my interest kind of like drifted from it after the series ended with 5.
You mean Survivor?
I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna just when the series ended with 5, which was definitely the last Metal Gear game that was made, and nothing came after that. That's what I'm getting at. If you catch my drift.
Are you forgetting the pachinko machine? With the amazing redone cutscenes of MGS3.
I don't even have a snarky comeback for that one. Just like yeah, I remember the pachinko machine.
All right, least favorite protagonist. We gotta go with the least as well.
Probably everybody in 5. Because they're so insufferable. They're like, well, the woods is gonna kill us. Good thing we better go back there. And they just keep going back to this woods. It's they know with the security camera stuff. They know they're gonna get possessed. They know they're gonna walk back to the woods. But they don't take any like real preventative measures. They don't lock the doors down. They don't like try to cleanse the house. No, they just let them keep going back to the woods. And it's like, you guys are all idiots. I hate all of you.
You know what they say? Natural selection takes its course.
Yeah, and the ghosts are winning this fight. I will say though, I do really like the character design of the main girl. Was it a Yuri?
Yuri. Yeah, her name. It's Yuri.
That is a nice character design, but otherwise, all the characters in that game infuriate me.
Yeah. Again, I'm agreeing with you on that because it's one thing to make characters dumb, but when you make an entire cast of characters dumb,
yeah,
that's a huge problem.
It's just like, imagine watching Ghostbusters, but nobody knows how to bust a ghost. That wouldn't be a very fun movie.
No, it would not. Or just be like Ghostbusters 2 and have the mayor forget that what they did to save the city.
Yeah.
Oh man. That was, oh god. But I also do want to say that like I am kind of glad that they went the extra mile to give us another character, Ayane, from Ninja Gaiden / Dead or Alive.
Oh yeah, that was a weird thing.
It's Koei Tecmo.
Yeah, it's like, let's just put this character in the game for no reason, just because we own it. I mean, like, it was like really cool bonus mode, and they made like a whole slightly different type of gameplay for it, and that was kind of neat. I think it played similarly to like Fatal Frame 4, like the flashlight where you like charged up. Isn't that what you did? You like charged up this like light thing. It was like a ninja power or some weird thing. I forget.
I honestly don't remember off the top of my
head.
It
didn't really. I played it the one time. It really didn't stick in my memory very long.
See, I kind of just want Ryu Hayabusa to just come out and slash ghosts with his dragon sword.
See, that would have been cool. You get like a dragon sword. Yeah, if it's like a magical sword, then just let me chop ghosts in half. I don't care. That'd be dope.
And it, like the first time he does it, he just slashes them. It's like in half. They don't even go away. They just come back together.
Oh, what if they just like the legs grow a new body and the body grows new legs because they're just made of ectoplasm? They could just do that.
Oh god, they're starfish.
See, now there's a horror game idea, like Ghost Ninja.
Ooh.
Do that.
Ooh.
Someone do that. I want to chop ghosts in half, but I want the ghosts all to like
reproduce, like just.
Ooh,
man, that sounds so cool now.
Yeah, and so you gotta like find out what you gotta do to the different ghosts to like take them out in the right way so they don't regenerate or something like that. I don't know. You know, like shooting the weak points on the regenerator in Resident Evil 4, like stuff like that, but with like slashing mechanics, not unlike maybe Metal Gear Rising. I don't know. Spitballing ideas here. That'd be cool.
That would be cool though. Just like do something different with ghosts, you know?
Yeah, Metal Gear Rising, but you're fighting ghosts instead of robots. That'd be sick.
Like that. I want that now. Want that to happen.
That.
Please.
Make that video game.
Platinum. Where are you at?
God, you get Platinum. I mean, Nintendo's got a good relationship with Platinum. It took Platinum to make a good Nier game. Just put them to make a good Fatal Frame game. They work with different properties all the time. They could be put on that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we got more favorites going on, but this is actually the last bits of favorites. Favorite ritual / final boss.
Oh, this is easy, man. Just okay. Actually, I think my favorite ritual is the ritual in 4. Like the whole idea of like this ritual, like cursing your face, so like your face explodes and blooms like a flower, and then you just look at someone, you can't make out the features. It's like you ever watch a Scanner Darkly?
No.
It's a rotoscoped movie starring Keanu Reeves and Robert Downey Jr. And there's a suit Keanu Reeves wears that like obscures his like features, so it's like his body's shifting between all these different identities just so no one knows what he looks like. It's like that applied just to a face, and it's like such a visually it's really cool. It's such a cool like idea for a curse. I like the idea that you have to like play the piano at the song, as much as that part like sucks because you have to do it with the Wii remote and you can't make any mistakes or you gotta fight the boss over. But like the idea of like playing the song and then you hear like the bagpipes on the top of the lighthouse, it's just such a cool freaking scene. That's my favorite ritual.
That's cool. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, but my favorite final boss is yeah, I guess we are doing spoilers. Fatal Frame 2's true final boss, when you fight like I forget her name, but the one that looks like your sister, except she's in like a bloody kimono and her eyes are just like all black and she's just standing there laughing. Like, that's just such a cool freaking boss.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to remember her name, actually.
I forget, because there's two twins from back in the day that the curse like happened because of, and the whole idea. Yeah, and then that's why they're trying to get your sister so they can use her soul to like complete the ritual or whatever.
Is it Mutsuki?
Mutsuki? I don't remember at all.
But I again, it's like, it's so cool. It's especially because like with everything that was going on, it brings so much more of an impact as well.
Yeah.
Like, it makes everything just so connected with everything.
And it's also like just the shot from the final boss fight where she's just standing there with like that blood red aura like surrounding her. It's also like a callback to the shot where she's standing in the room full of dead bodies because she got possessed or whatever and killed everybody. And it's just like, yeah, like you can cross cut that and there's like it's a callback to that shot. It's like super cool.
It's good shit. It's good
yeah,
shit. Compliments to the chef.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you see that scene, you're like, oh, that's a good one. Oh, whoever was responsible for that, give that guy a raise, because that was powerful right there.
For me, I want to say my favorite ritual is going to be Fatal Frame 2.
Oh yeah.
I'm on the wiki and I'm trying to remember the name. Is the Crimson Sacrifice ritual?
That's what it was. Yeah.
And like, I thought that ritual was cool. Like, the things with these as well is that you can kind of believe that these are real.
Yeah, that's another thing I love about the series, because it just feels so deep rooted in like old Japanese like ritual culture, because that's not unlike this sort of, you know, general stuff they would do back then and like the hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. For final boss, I want to say 2 again, because it's like you said, like, and it's mainly the story points of it. Like, with every story beat, just everything coming together, and it's like, it looks like you're fighting your sister, but but you know it's not. It's a goddamn ghost.
Exactly. It's a ghost of a girl from hundreds of years ago, but it's just the events of your life just happen to mirror the events of those two girls. That it's really poetic in a way. It's so freaking cool the way they pulled it all off.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing I really like, is just anything that could just melt together in the story, and it just comes up in the end of it.
Yeah.
For me, that's engrossing. That's very engrossing for me.
It's like you watch this artist like paint this beautiful painting the whole time, the whole game, and once the painting's completed, they peel it away and you see what's really underneath it. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
If that makes sense. But yeah, man. Yeah. Nothing to add to that, yet I'm still talking.
Let's go into the least favorite ritual.
Oh, I'll let you go first so I can think.
That's the thing. I'm trying to think of it too, but it's like, it's a little hard, you know?
The one in 5 was kind of like dumb, just because, like, I don't know, the idea of it like being trapped in the box and like filling it with water, it's like, that's like brutal and scary and terrifying. It's a cool idea, but I think the execution, the game did not make me give a shit about that ritual.
It's like, not only that, it also goes back to the characters as well. I feel like with the characters, like, trying to like learn everything about it, but they just keep going back and not taking any precautionary measures during this investigation that they're doing.
It's like they keep finding themselves in these situations, but the writers like did that in a lazy way. They just made them all dumb, so they keep doing that instead of like writing like smarter, more interesting ways for them to come into those scenarios.
Like, the way I see it,
the weakness there.
The way I see it, I think they just kept writing themselves in a corner.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty much how I see it as. It's just they kept writing themselves into corners, and it's like, okay, well, we gotta do something.
And I think that's just what spawned such a like flimsy back and forth narrative, where it's like, okay, they go to point B and back to point A and back to point B, and you're just going back and forth, and it's like, what are you guys doing? This is not really a smooth story.
Yeah. And for the final boss, I forget which one it was. You're just pretty much surrounded by fog, and you're just like waiting for them to just show up.
That was 3.
It's either 3 or like I believe it's 3, but I'm also thinking about Spirit Camera as well.
Oh, that final boss, she just like rotates around you and you just have to spin around like in real life to find her. I thought that was actually kind of fun. I kind of like that last boss actually.
But I think 3 is the worst offender personally.
See, the thing is, like, I think visually, like, 3's boss is really freaking cool. The way it like flies around, she's like that ancient spirit covered in tattoos, and it's like, and it's so cool. But that fight is such a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
like, I was stuck on that thing for hours.
Yeah, it's one thing to have a really cool looking boss. It's another thing to make the boss fight actually fun.
Yeah, and that can also be said about Fatal Frame 5's final boss. It's so cool looking. You're in that just blood crimson sea, and then you go above the water and below the water, and depending on where you are when you land the final shot, you get a different ending, and that's so freaking cool, but it's so boring. You're just standing there taking pictures of it, and it's easy as hell.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like the opposite problem. It's like it's too easy instead of being too frustrating.
It needs that balance, you know, like not too hard, but not too easy. You know, you want that good amount of challenge.
Exactly.
But like, you also don't want to make it too annoying at points either. Like the whole thing with like, depending on where you are, like in terms of environment, depending on the ending, that's cool. That's unique. But at least try and make the boss at least fun to fight. Yeah.
Like, I think there's a big difference between challenging and frustrating. Like, I love a challenging final boss.
Yes.
Because, like, I hate it when a final boss is too easy. And I've kind of felt that way about, like, Mario games. I mean, I get they're kids' games. But, like, in Mario Galaxy 2, you get the final boss, and it's a cool set piece, but it's just easy as hell. And I just kind of felt, like, a little unsatisfied by it.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess I would rather that than it just be frustrating.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Like, I think a bad boss is a frustrating one, without a doubt.
But it's a slippery slope. It's difficult to hit that middle ground, and I think some of the other Fatal Frame games did it. I thought 1's final boss was fine, 2's was great. 4 wasn't that great. 4 is really easy, and then you get to the piano, then it sucks, and it's just the piano is the real final boss, and it was dumb. Mm-hmm. But I think 1 and 2 are really the only ones that really got it right.
Yeah. So what about least favorite for you?
Least favorite final boss. I'm gonna have to say Fatal Frame 4 just because of that piano. I restarted the fight, like, and every time you die and restart, you have to climb the whole freaking staircase in the middle of that lighthouse again. And that sucks. And I had to do that like 3 or 4 times because I kept messing up that piano at the end. We had to aim the Wii remote at the screen and like play the. Yeah, I hate that. That.
Yeah, that doesn't even sound fun at all.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I just farted really loud. I hope that didn't show up in the mic. Apologies. I'm stinking today, bro. I got stank ass right now. Good thing we're not doing this in the same room together. You'd be like, ugh, I'm trying to do a podcast with Nitro Rad, but he keeps making my room smell like poop.
I think I'd be on. I think you would say the same thing about me, honestly.
I actually can't smell farts.
Ooh.
This is a little known thing about me, going super off topic, but I have synesthesia. So like my senses are all jumbled, and long story short, as a result of that, I can't smell a lot of things. So I can't smell very many things. It's weird, but like farts are one of the things I can't smell.
a lot of people will consider you lucky for that.
Yeah, a lot of people do. But I mean, I also can't smell a lot of good things either.
Yeah.
Like, I can't smell flowers. I can't smell grass. I can't smell chocolate. I can't smell a lot of things. It's strange.
I get you. Okay, so we're good with the favorites and least favorites.
Yeah, I think we kind of covered all bases there.
Yeah. So, a possible title on the Switch.
It's going to be nothing but a disaster.
I mean, yeah, I can see why. With how the track record has been lately.
It's not even just that, but I remember like when I finished my review series, I looked into to see if there was plans for it, and had like the only quote from the director was like, "Yeah, it'd be fun. I can imagine you sitting in your chair with your Switch and flinging the console all around to find ghosts." It's like, okay, so they're gonna do another gimmicky pile of like gimmicks. Okay, cool. All right. So the next Fatal Frame game's going to be bad. All right, I'll jot that down.
I mean, like, It's kind of weird on this one because like you can still add the gyro to it at least.
Yeah, like I think gyro assist is great. Being able to tilt the controller, it's just another type of input the same way pushing a stick is. But when you make that the entire focus of it, just like they did with 5, it gets a little like, I don't know, tired.
It overstates its welcome, essentially.
100%. Because like the idea of rotating the gamepad to go from portrait to landscape was really, really cool, because that's what you do in actual photography, and that was a brilliant way to introduce elements of real photography. But it, like, I don't know, it overstayed its welcome, and they already did that idea for one game. If you want that sort of experience, you can play Fatal Frame 5. Yeah. I think they really need to go back to the way like the first 3 were, and then add elements of those like gyro in there instead of making it the focus, because I feel like we should be past that experimental era where like it was the Wii and the Wii U, everyone's trying motion controls, but I feel like now we kind of figured out what they're really good for, which is VR and then gyro assist.
Yeah.
And like if they just are with the times and do that, they could make a dope game. But it's I don't have that much faith in it, because A, the director said some dumb bullshit about that, and B, it's still in Nintendo's hands, and you know how they can be something. Well, Nintendo has gotten better. Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, they kind of felt that way too, so you never know.
Yeah. Like what about like just bringing in the first 3 games onto the Switch?
That would be great.
And to an extent, maybe Spirit Camera.
Oh, I don't know if Spirit Camera would work on, because the Switch doesn't have a camera or nothing.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like if you could, yeah, I'm like thinking about it, because like you also had to do the AR technology shit with the book.
The book, yeah.
So just the first 3. We're good with the first 3.
I'd say you could easily port 4, because the motion controls are really tacked on, and you could easily replace those motions with like gyro with a right stick. So I think they could put 4 on there as well. 5 I think relies a little too much on the gamepad. They'd have to change that a lot. But like 1, 2, 3, and 4 they could easily all put on the Switch.
But also the other thing about it is like we never got a US release of 4.
No, we didn't. And I think we need that.
Like, what was it? Only PAL versions and Japanese as well?
No, PAL in Japan got the Wii remake of 2. Only Japan got 4.
Yeah, so it's like, what the hell? Like, wait, I'm actually looking. Apparently, it was canceled for the US and PAL regions.
It's so strange, but that would be finally a good way to like, even if that game like a lot of people don't think it's all that great, I think like gameplay wise it's really uninteresting and boring and kind of easy. But like I think the story and their exploration's enough for like, yeah, I think a lot of people could really like that one. And I think it's just like, that kind of weird one that no one really knows much about. I think translating that and letting people able to actually play it could only be a really good thing
without having to import it.
And hack your freaking Wii to put a fan translation in.
So it's like
no one should have to do that.
Let us play 4, like hashtag release Fatal Frame 4. So we love the games for the most part, at least. I hope so.
Yeah, I'd say I love the series, even if it has its ups and downs, but even the downs are at least interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This was very recent. The director of the first Silent Hill movie came out and said he's on the way to make another Silent Hill movie. But he also said that he's interested in doing a Fatal Frame movie.
Huh.
I'm kind of scared for that.
I don't think either of the Silent Hill movies are good. In fact, I think both of them are bad.
I think the second one was the worst one.
See, I thought the second one was at least more entertaining just because I could look at some fun visual effects, but they were both... I think objectively, like, the second one's way worse.
Yeah,
like they butcher that story so much. Like they made what's his name, the guy who's you talk to him so he can be like, oh, they look like monsters to you,
Vincent.
It's like what yeah, Vincent. But they make him just like generic boyfriend man, and then they kill the detective for no reason, and it's like, all right, the detective's not in the story anymore. It's like they start the plot of Silent Hill 3 and then they're just like, all right, just kidding, this is actually like nonsense.
But remember, Vincent was played by Jon Snow from Game of Thrones.
I don't even know who that is. I've never watched that show. So tough shit, John. Sorry.
But also, let's also keep in mind, you know how Sean Bean in every movie, he pretty much dies?
Yeah.
And Harry Mason's supposed to die in Silent Hill 3. Yet he doesn't die in Revelations.
Oh my god, I never really, that is so funny. That's so funny. I never really thought about that. Oh my lord. They couldn't even get that right.
No.
The guy was born to play dudes that just die, and they couldn't even get that right.
No.
Why cast him then?
But the reason I'm scared for Fatal Frame as a movie is because, like, Fatal Frame is J-horror, like, through and through.
Yeah.
So having a US distributor come out with Fatal Frame, it's gonna be what's the word for it?
Hollywood disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is very much a series that is deep rooted in Japanese culture. You know, unlike Silent Hill, which very like Alan Poe inspired. You know, it's very Western setting, very like small town American setting. But this
very
is like
Stephen King.
Yeah, very Stephen King. But this is just straight up Japanese rituals, Japanese settings, Japanese characters, and you know they're gonna throw all that out the window and try to make it some American urban legend with American characters with like just Hollywood actors. That's what they're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do. It's gonna completely defeat the point.
We have Mia and Maya.
Mia and Maya. No, you'll have Mandy and Minnie.
I don't want a Fatal Frame movie to be done by the director of the Silent Hill film.
No,
I really don't. Honestly, you could pick better one. I wouldn't even mind James Wan.
I think, like, which game would they adapt? Or would they just make an original story based on the camera obscura?
If they make it an original story, then that would be very interesting.
That would be at least a lot less offensive. It'll be more inoffensive.
But
at least.
But if they base it off of a game, ooh,
they're probably just gonna go with the first one.
Yeah.
But I think honestly the best one to adapt into a film would be the fourth one. I think.
Honestly,
I think
yeah,
that one would work really well.
I could definitely agree with that.
And that would be exciting because that's a story not as many people have got to see because it never came out of Japan.
So it's like if they just adapt it properly.
Yeah.
Then
they could do that. It'd be cool.
But the other thing is, like, J-horror is a very different kind of scary as well.
Mm-hmm.
With U.S. horror movies, with Western horror movies, we're all about jump scares and loud sounds to, like, tell to be scared. But, like, with J-horror, they're very subtle most of the times.
It's definitely much more nuanced, for sure.
And if you do that with Fatal Frame, you kind of lose it.
Yeah.
You lose what made Fatal Frame scary.
100%.
Subtlety
100%.
and nuance.
Yeah. And if that's lost, then it's not Fatal Frame.
Exactly.
You can call this Fatal Frame, but it won't be Fatal Frame.
It's Fatal Frame Eno in name only.
And that makes me wonder, actually, because I don't know if you knew this, but there was already a Fatal Frame movie.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like a Japanese one by a Japanese director with Japanese characters, only in Japan. That only came out in Japan. I don't know if it's any good or not, but like I really want to try watching that sometime because I think it's an original story. I don't think it's based on any of them, but it's just characters with the camera obscura, or it might be based on one of the games. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but I just know that there is already a Japanese film based on Fatal Frame.
Yeah, it came out in 2014.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was a little bit before Fatal Frame 5, I think, or maybe around the same time as it. But yeah.
I never knew that. Wow.
Yeah, not a lot of people know about that. I only stumbled upon it when I was doing research for, I think, Fatal Frame 5 when I was making that video.
Okay, so I'm looking into it. Apparently the movie is based on the novelization of the Fatal Frame games.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that would do it.
And it premiered in North America on July 28th.
When did it premiere in North America? Like, where did they play that? At, like, a film festival or something?
Yeah, the 19th Fantasia International Film Festival.
Interesting. So it didn't have a theater-wide release. It was just showing it. That's cool. I like that.
I kind of want to watch this now. I'm curious.
That's why I used to go to, back when I was getting big into, like, filmmaking and I was in, like, middle school, I used to go to film festivals a lot because you got to see a lot of foreign stuff that you just wouldn't see in theaters. And it was really cool.
Yeah. When I was in college and I was taking history of film, one of the movies I got to watch was M.
Ooh.
I believe it was a German expressionist film. but it's really good. Like, it's a very good movie. It's a very good mystery. It's a very good thriller. I love it.
It's just called M?
Yeah.
Let me, M. Is it a 19... I'm getting a 1931 film and a 1951 film.
1930, I believe. 1931.
Jeez, that's old. Yeah, German thriller film.
Yep. That's it. But goddamn, it was so good.
I need to watch it sometime, because it's been a while since I've watched some, like, really old classic films. I've done that since film school, and I've been meaning to. So I should check that out.
Someone actually uploaded the entire film of the entire Fatal Frame movie on YouTube.
Yeah, I find that for a lot of, like, Japanese movies that never got a theatrical, or never got a Western release. Yeah, sometimes they're just all on YouTube because nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
So now here's the question: what if the director watched that one and decides to make an American remake of that one, kind of like how they did with The Ring and The Grudge?
Yeah, they also did that with Quarantine. That was a American remake of Wreck, which Wreck was great. Quarantine was not.
Like Wreck was so much better in terms of like the twist at the end.
Yeah,
but like everything else in Quarantine, it was almost shot for shot.
Yeah.
Kind of like watching Psycho with Vince Vaughn.
It just felt really pointless.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, if we get into that territory, then the Fatal Frame movie is just going to become another pointless American remake like Old Boy was, you know?
Yeah. Oh,
so either way you spin it, I don't think an American Fatal Frame movie could possibly be good, at least given the current circumstances.
And then they don't even call it Fatal Frame. They call it Project Zero.
Oh my god, could you imagine, like, they call it the title that we don't even... Yeah, oh.
I mean, like, what kind of bullshit is this?
Somebody's doing something out there, all right. Oh, Lord.
Oh, man. Oh, all right. So, you did a whole series of Fatal Frame. You did an entire review series of it.
I did every main series game, yeah.
So now here's a question. You say you don't have the Xbox version of Fatal Frame 2. But before we actually get into that, let's just talk about like what Fatal Frame games we currently own.
Okay, I know I have 1, 2, and 3 all on PS2. I have the Wii remake of 2, which I think is like probably one of the most interesting like pieces of Fatal Frame media I have, because that's just such a cool, weird, strange thing that even exists. I got 4 on Wii, I got Spirit Camera, and I got the little booklet it comes with, and then I don't have a copy of 5. I got it digital.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to have but what it boiled down to is like, am I going to pay 90 Canadian just to show a box on screen for 3 seconds? No.
Especially because the Wii U is region locked too, so it's just like...
Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to play it unless I modded it, but I don't know nothing about that, and yeah.
Same. For me, I got Fatal Frames 1 through 3 on the PS2. I got 2 on the Xbox on a really good deal, by the way.
Yeah, I really want to try the Xbox version of that, because 2 is obviously like my favorite one, and it's easily the most replayable one for me. So like, yeah, there will be a day where I'm going to play that game again, of course, and I would like it to be the Xbox version.
It's like, hey, remember when I did my Fatal Frame reviews? Yeah, I got the Xbox versions for 1 and 2.
Boom. Yeah. Oh yeah, 1 was on Xbox as well. Forgot about that.
With arguably a better cover, 2 as well.
Yeah, the cover of 1 was not good.
No, it was not.
Yeah, it definitely just felt like an American like cover artist was like, how can I make this? And then it was 2. They just stayed true to like the Japanese art direction, and it just looks cool as hell.
Actually, weirdly enough, the cover of the PS2, the first cover for the PS2 cover for the US kind of reminds me of Shadow of Destiny on the PS2.
You know what it does? Oh my god, I have that game. Wait. Wait a minute. What is... I don't know where it is. Let me just Google the cover art. Because it's just like Ein's dumb-looking face. Okay, wait. Shadow of Destiny. Yes, it's like the same dumb, stupid face. But what I'm saying, if there's a YouTube version of this, you should put them side by side on screen, because it's like, yeah, I see exactly what you mean. It's like the same kind of dumb PS2 face.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I hate it when cover arts, like, when 3D rendering wasn't good at the time, but it was like new and impressive, so they had to do it. Like Mega Man Legends, like not Japanese, American PS1 cover looks stupid because it's just like bad, dumb-looking 3D model of Mega Man. You get the Japanese cover is this beautiful 2D illustration that's just aged so much better. It's just that stuff. Like, Americans are like, yeah, we have to put the 3D models on it so they can look terrible in 10 years.
It's kind of like the Kirby effect. In America, we got angry Kirby, but in Japan, they got happy Kirby.
Yeah, same principle. Like, Japan kind of gets it a little better on that front sometimes, I feel.
But let me see. I got 1 through 3 on PS2. I got 2 on Xbox. And Spirit Camera.
I'm jealous you got 2 on Xbox. I really want to get the Xbox versions of 1 and 2.
Yeah, I still need to get 1. But I also have 5 digital, cuz for me, for me, collecting for collector's purpose, I would get it. I would actually import it.
Someday I do want to get it, but it's going to be something I stumble upon instead of like go out of my way right now.
Yeah.
Just because it's pricey, you know?
Yeah, it's very pricey. I think it got pricey because of the name, but like also it's imported as well. That's the other thing.
Also, I think the only physical version they did in the UK was a limited edition. So I think that's also why it's like so expensive. The only English version you could buy is this really souped up like collector's edition.
Oh God.
I think so, at least.
I just like, for me, I just want to get it because I just really like Fatal Frame, and it's like I want it so much, but I can't because the entire series is so goddamn expensive.
It is. I mean, that's part of why I sat on it for so long before deciding to review it all.
Now we got the games we own. What are we missing?
I'm not missing anything, I don't think, other than the Xbox versions of 1 and 2. I think that's all I got.
Let's see. I'm missing the Wii remake of 2. I'm also missing 4. And
the Wii remake of 2 it's definitely worth playing like at least once. It's kind of got like the dumb controls from 4, and some fights are made like unnecessarily harder. But like playing that game from a third person like over the shoulder angle it's like really interesting playing that game a second time with that camera. Yeah. It's like playing Metal Gear Solid 3 a second time with the 3D camera. It's not like a step up. I think it's kind of a step back in a way, but it is interesting seeing that whole game from a different angle.
Yeah, that sometimes things like that add a new perspective in a way.
Yeah.
That was totally not a pun, by the way. But
I didn't even pick up on that until you mentioned that.
But like, yeah, I'm missing the first one on Xbox. I'm missing 4. I'm missing 2 remake. I'm also missing 5 if I want that physically.
Yeah, I guess I'm just missing 5 and then Xbox version 1 and 2 for
So we got those bases down. We got everything down. But now there's just one more thing we gotta talk about. The hopes for a new title. Just not a remake or bringing the other games onto the Switch. Just a new game for Fatal Frame.
So I think this is my perspective on like what I think a story for a new good Fatal Frame game should be. A lot of Fatal Frame games focus on the ritual itself, and you just kind of explore it through the eyes of a character. 1, 3, and 5 did that. Mm-hmm. Where I found 2 and 4, the characters themselves felt more important. Like, it was more about the characters being affected by the ritual rather than the ritual itself. In the same way that Silent Hill 1 and 3 are about the cult itself and the curses itself. But 2 was like, ignore all that. That's just the setting. We're exploring James as a character. Yeah. I would like for them to do that again, like they did with Mio and Mayu. Those are the names. I've already forgotten them again because my brain's made of butter. But either way, a story like that I think would be good. And then just like, I don't know, even if they stuck with the over-the-shoulder angle, like in 4 and 5, that could still work. Just like, don't go too crazy on the motion control. Just have it gyro assist, leave it at that, make it play close to the PS2 ones. That's all I want.
Yeah. I'm definitely the same way. It's like, have the characters like just not make it about the ritual, make how the characters were affected by it. That's one thing that would be really cool. Just don't make it too gimmicky.
Yeah, I definitely find stories are more interesting to me when they're driven by the characters and not what's happening to them. If that makes sense.
No, I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Also, kind of in a way, updated designs of ghosts. Get unique with it.
Because like that was one thing I loved about 3. is they had some really cool ghost designs. Definitely like some of the scariest ones. And in 1 as well. 2 and 4 and 5 even were a little tamer with the ghosts. They were just like people. They're just white people, ghostly white glowing people that float around. And like sometimes in 5 they had some cool ones, like that really tall woman with like the sun hat, with like the long jaw. That was creepy as hell. I think there's like some of them reflect the way they died. Like if a guy was hanged, he's got a broken neck and he's hanging from a noose. That's cool, but go even crazier with that. Let's say a guy got curb stomped, so his jaw's like broken and open like a monster, like gaping wide, and you do stuff like that would be really cool.
Or better yet, what someone gets beheaded, and their heads are dangling like nearly headless Nick in Harry Potter.
And then what if you have to take a camera of the neck strand to sever it, and then the head and body become 2 separate enemies, and that's how you deal with that one.
See, this is top shit we're coming up with.
There's so much stuff you can do with it. Like, there's so much more territory you can explore with this series. And that's why I really do hope they make more games, but I just don't have a lot of faith that they are going to explore that. And but I know they could surprise me, and that's what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah, definitely. But it's like the only thing we could do is wait, because who knows how long it'll be, if at all, we get a new Fatal Frame game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to lose faith in the franchise at all, because I want to say it's important, but it's not really important. It's more so 2 that's important.
Yeah.
But like, don't let it end with 5. You got so much more that you could do with the series. You know, step up a notch, like 5 of them.
It just feels like one of those series where we have to see it has so much potential, but we have to watch them keep making games that just don't like reach out to try and grab any of that. So like, there's so much left to be desired.
I would also say just look back on the other games, see what worked for them.
Exactly.
Like, don't take everything. Like, take what you think would work for a new title, and then just go back to the roots of 1. Make it scary.
Yeah, like, because you need a good balance between scares and gameplay, and like they still have not met that perfect balance. Again, like 2 is the best one in my eyes, but it's definitely the least scary. I don't think there's any one game that scratches both itches really well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, don't make it like The Grudge on the Wii.
Oh, that pile of poop. I forgot about that game. You walk like at 1 mile an hour. You go so slow.
It's like, don't make it like The Grudge on the Wii, but also don't make it The Calling on the Wii as well.
Yeah, like, the Calling also wasn't too great.
Like, where you can explore, but there's like nothing to do.
Yeah, like you have that whole school to explore, and all of the rooms are empty, yet you have to like loot through every friggin' drawer to find the thing to let you know what to do. What a boring game.
Yeah, I did the first level. I thought it was gonna be fun. Then I kept going. Oh, this is not fun.
I mean, the story gets a little decent. I thought the story was kind of nice by the end of things. It gets interesting at least, and like there is some cool stuff they do with the Wii Remote, like the idea of like, oh, the ghost voice come out of the Wii Remote, like the phone, and I think the crappy like speaker quality kind of adds to it in a way because
definitely.
They do. There's some cool things in that game, but overall it's like it's just boring. Yeah,
but like you kind of look at. In a weird way, kind of look at Dreadout.
Yeah.
Like,
forgot what we were going to talk about Dreadout.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that at some point. I guess now we're talking about it.
Yeah, Dreadout is like an interesting game.
Yeah, it's I believe it's Taiwanese, but you can tell that it's heavily inspired by Fatal Frame.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is you're taking pictures of ghosts and that's how you fight guys. It's literally the same idea. Though that kind of game plays really well with a mouse and keyboard, I've realized, because that game's on PC.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Fatal Frame 2 tried to like take some inspiration from I think Silent Hill. So there's like also melee combat, but I don't know, it didn't really work too well. I think if they leaned more into like the camera stuff. I feel like Dreadout, like by the second game, it's a series that doesn't know what it wants to be, while the first one was clear as day a Fatal Frame successor.
Yeah. But like, if you just look at Dreadout, it's still a fun game. Like, yeah, it's kind of a budget title, but
oh yeah,
there's still heart to it.
Oh, there's a lot of heart in that game. Like, the models aren't great, the animation's not great, but I mean, it's a Taiwanese studio with like no money, so of course it's not going to look great. But I mean, while it is kind of like buggy and frustrating at points, you can tell there's like a lot of heart in that game, and I enjoyed it quite a bit for what it was.
Like, if they look at Dreadout and had put that same heart and passion into a new Fatal Frame game
with a AAA budget from Nintendo,
then I'm hoping we could get a new title like at some point.
Yeah.
Like, hell, sure. They can announce one tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, we don't know what the future's going to bring. This podcast could only be relevant for one day for all we know. And then it's suddenly, oh, well, I wish we waited a day to do this because now all this stuff's, in the past.
We should have done it later.
Nah, you can't wait for stuff to happen. You gotta just go and do, because you just know how annoying. I mean, it could be another 6 years before we hear that.
Yeah, but I don't know. We just gotta wait on that.
Yeah, wait it out. That's what being a gamer is, all about waiting for a nice thing to happen.
But there we go. That's everything that we can talk about Fatal Frame.
Yeah, I guess we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Google Doc. We actually went through everything, so yeah.
Yeah.
This was fun. I had a really good time talking about this. Especially because like it's kind of hard finding more people that's into Fatal Frame.
Yeah, because again, it's like kind of a niche series, and like even if you aren't a horror, it's one of like the ones that not everyone has played. Because again, I think more people would play it if those games were just available, but they're only on PS2 and they're all expensive as hell. And like the only real accessible way to do it is like buying them for $10 digitally on PS3. But again, who still has their freaking PS3 hooked up? Not very many people.
I have it hooked up when I need to stream or something, but
yeah, like I still have mine hooked up, but that's because I do video game stuff for a living, and sometimes I need to record stuff from it, right?
Yeah,
most people aren't gonna do. Most people aren't like that.
But this was a good time. I had a lot of fun with this one.
Oh yeah, I had a blast just shooting the shit and chatting you up about this series. This is a series I've not been able to do that, like just have a conversation about it for like an hour with somebody, because again, I don't know anybody that plays this either.
It's so niche, but it's like I'm actually glad there's someone like out here that at least knows Fatal Frame, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of good timing. You did the review marathon.
Yeah, that was a good decision, because like any decision that's going to make me more cultured in the world of horror games, I think is a good decision. Even if I have to sit through some not so great titles, if I come out of it being able to have a conversation like this, I think I did a good job.
Definitely. But yeah, that's our podcast of the Fatal Frame series. I want to thank Nitro Rad or James for coming down, and
thanks for having me. This was a blast.
If you want to follow his stuff, you want to watch his marathon of the Fatal Frame series, there will be a link for his channel as well as the playlist below in the description, as well as his Twitter. But
what dumpster fire that thing is. All it is just Animal Crossing now. But if it's not Animal Crossing, I'm just tweeting like dumb, unfunny nonsense. It's very, very different than my on-camera personality. A lot of people get surprised and like I'm very serious and I'm not like super goofy, and I'm very like kind of that way in my videos. And then they follow me on Twitter and I'm tweeting stuff like, I poop my pants recreationally. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. I just thought it was funny, so I just threw it on the internet. I don't know.
I shit at my own will.
Yeah, I'm gonna poop your pants. I don't know, stuff like that. I just think of tweet it.
But if you enjoyed the podcast, feel free to drop a like. Maybe hit the subscribe. I'm trying to hit that 10K, man. I'm
the subscribe.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there to 10K. I got the special on the work.
Dude,
works.
Hell yeah, dude. You're trucking along there, dude.
So, thank you guys so much for listening, and
oh my god, excuse me. I'm so sorry. That came out of nowhere. I'm disgusting. I'm like the worst guest on the planet.
So thank you guys for joining in, listening to us ramble and shoot the shit. And yeah, this was great. So see you guys next time for the next podcast or something else. I have another thing planned. I don't know when I'll get to it, but it will happen.
Cool.